Well, Slade, just when we thought, we're going to have a couple weeks just to relax before our final video. No, the game industry is like, hey, here's more news. Have it
That's
all.
right.
Have all the news. And we're going to start, Slade, with something we knew was going to eventually happen, but we didn't think it happened this soon. The death of E3.
That is right. So after the events of the pandemic and quite frankly, all of the mismanaged IP leaking controversies and all sorts of nature, E3 is officially dead and gone, as is the ESA. Pretty sad to say.
Well, the ESA is still going to be around, but yeah, E3...
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah, E3, the event is gone after more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last. Okay, very funny, ESA. The time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories. Yeah. We talked about it, I think, a couple months ago, that the ESA wanted to try to get E3 happening again in 2025. And obviously the fallout with ReedPop. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Kind of insane that didn't end up panning out considering their track record. So,
yeah.
Again, it's just really sad to see it go.
Well, if ReedPop have a good track record, then you know who the party to blame is.
Yeah.
The ESA.
It's the ESA.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But do you have any fond memories of E3?
Oh, lots of fond memories. I remember watching the reveal of Twilight Princess.
Ooh.
And the crowd just absolutely lost their shit.
Yeah, didn't Miyamoto come out with like the Hyrule sword and the Hyrule shield, or Master Sword and the Hyrule shield?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Look, I don't know much. I don't know much of Zelda. We're gonna get into some Zelda news, funny enough, later. But
yeah, there's the Keanu Reeves bit.
Yep.
That was wholesome, but also started a pretty worrying trend.
Yeah. One thing I remember was I think this was either E3 2012 or 2013. The insane burial Sony had of Microsoft with the whole, hey, our console is going to be cheaper, and we're not going to do all this DRM bullshit. And that funny little video of, oh, hey, here's how you can give games to your friends. Give them a copy. Hey, here you go. Crowd went nuts.
Yeah.
That one E3 was insane. Obviously, one of the most early iconic E3 moments was Sony just going $299 for the PS1. Absolutely destroying whatever chance the Saturn had.
Yep, and then they just walked off the stage.
Yeah, which
was iconic.
That's some boss shit right there.
And less successful E3 memories. It was still cool to see. The announcement of Star Fox Zero with the whole robot chicken Star Fox.
Oh yeah, that was
good parody.
Yeah, the robot chicken, that was good. That was pretty good. That one was a good one.
That was back when Nintendo would like do all sorts of like skits and funny stuff.
Yeah. God, I don't know if you remember the Skyward Sword shit show.
Yeah. They couldn't even get it working on stage.
Yeah. The stupid Wii music thing.
Mm-hmm.
God. Crash came back at an E3. That was pretty dope. God.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of great memories of E3, a lot of not so great memories. But it's not going to be that big of a loss in the grand scheme, or more than people think, because for the industry itself, there's going to be more events to like meet up to be able to do like collaborations, communicate, all that stuff. There's events like...
absolutely. We still have Summer Games Fest, Gamescom, and the Game Awards.
Yeah.
So we have our own fair share of issues with those right now.
And for developers, there's GDC, the Game Developers Conference, also, which is still a pretty big event.
And, the majority of companies nowadays have taken to shooting their own little directs, taking pages from Nintendo's playbook.
Yeah,
so.
That's still wild to me, that Nintendo were the ones to start the trend. Nintendo rarely starts trends. But when they do, apparently, most of the time, it's good trends that they start. Because, in my opinion, now I could be wrong, I think it's better to have what we have now, even if it is a little more messy, to have information come out not just once a year, more times a year.
Well, it keeps you engaged for sure, but you are losing that aspect of like it feels like the week of E3 was kind of like summer Christmas, so to speak. It was like an actual summer holiday for video gamers.
Yeah.
So like there's positives and there's negatives, but
Yeah. Yeah, devs.
I think I speak for us all when we say we will definitely miss E3.
E3 will not be forgotten, but it is no longer here. Speaking of things that are no longer here, Slade. So there was a Link's Awakening. I'm going to use air quotes. You can't see me right now, but I'm using air quotes. PC port of Link's Awakening. It was available on itch.io, and obviously the page is down now. Of course.
Yes. So, long story short, the Link's Awakening PC port that was made to go at 120 FPS. Had the screens all on one screen, so there's no like transitions and stuff like that. It was honestly pretty gorgeous.
Yeah,
it was definitely a nice reimagining.
Yeah,
well, not reimagining. It was nice to see Link's Awakening in that like form.
Yeah, like I saw some like videos of people like zooming out the map to an insane like degree, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I know it's a Game Boy game, but still, god damn.
Yeah, it was hella dope. But the one thing Byron pointed out to me was that the PC port did not require you to have a ROM of the original game.
Yes.
Download it. So essentially, they were just distributing this for free pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
So naturally, to nobody's surprise, Nintendo came and took it down.
Yeah. So yeah, it was available on itch.io. The page was taken down originally for sketch reasons. Like it was like, oh hey, itch.io was like, oh hey, this page may be suspicious. The author may be suspicious, and it had a link to oh hey, play the game Discord scam prevention, which I know a thing or two about that, but we'll get
Lord.
You remember that situation, Slade, but
Yep.
But yeah, obviously this is going to get taken down. If the code is already out. It's like oh god, what was it? Oh, AM2R. If you remember that entire thing, though that happened before we knew of official, an official Metroid 2 remake. But
yeah,
it's kind of that same situation, except I think even worse in this case, because at least with Samus Returns at the time, I don't think it was like that readily available on official means.
Yeah, whereas Link's Awakening not only has an HD remake on the Switch, but also the original version also on the Switch and NSO. So it's like, yeah. So again, this is just one of those things where it's just like, I think it still gets taken down even if it has the ROM personally. But to me, you have to protect yourself. And you have to require people to have the ROM.
Well, Ship of Haruken hasn't been taken down. The Mario 64 stuff hasn't been taken down, so...
Yeah, but this one was also on a lot of people's YouTube channels. Like, it was already getting popular. Like, it was front page, like, news for the most part. Like, it was only a matter of time before it got taken down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was
not only that, but like I said, it also has a current version of the game on Switch that is a viable game.
Yeah,
like Nintendo wasn't going to let this slide.
Yeah, so if you have it, I hope you enjoy it. Maybe there will be a more quote official PC port. Like, I'm using air quotes again, official, like, with Ship of Haruken, the Ocarina of Time, and future Majora's Mask. Apparently that's going to be also part of Ship of Haruken soon. Mario 64, all that good stuff. And
all right.
Speaking,
let's break up some of these bad news with some actual good news.
Oh,
because spoilers, most of these articles actually suck, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Zenimax workers united with the CWA collective bargaining guilds in agreement with Microsoft over the use of AI in the workplace.
Hell yeah, brother. This is a good thing, because obviously one of the big issues of this year, besides like the God, what is it? Like 9,000 something layoffs in the industry, most of which probably are the fault of Embracer. Probably. not gonna say all, but most. But yeah, the Zenimax Workers Union, yeah, basically AI are gonna be like, yeah, you can use them, but under these circumstances, it has to be fair, reliable, safe, private, secure, inclusive, transparent, and accountable. So, round of applause, Slade. Round of applause. Good shit.
This is good shit. We're going to see a situation where people aren't going to get replaced with AI. AI is going to be used as a tool to assist workers. It's not going to be used to take their work from them.
Which I'm fine with that use of AI. If it's to assist, make things easier, and not potentially cause people to lose jobs.
Yeah, because the main thing is we don't want people losing jobs to fucking AI-generated content, which usually sucks.
Yeah, that's what part of both the writers and the actors strike was about. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the only thing, but it was like a major thing, because, you know, ChatGPT, Midjourney, all those fucking tools were starting to pop up, crop up. It's only gonna get bigger and better in terms of AI, how useful it will become. So try to rein it in now before it gets too big to be controlled. And that's what the Zenimax Workers Union has done, which is, again, nothing but a round of applause.
Yeah, like I said, fantastic. And this is why we need workers' unions.
Yes.
Not just in America, but all across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Something has to rein in all the corporate greed and remember, hey, there's people behind these desks making these games. And it is important that those people are compensated fairly and that they're comfortable enough to put out true works of art and not the same usual bullshit we get.
Yeah. Well, speaking of some usual bullshit that we've had this year, weird, funny game controversies is what we've had. Now, we've had a lot of not great games this year. We've had, what was it? Skull Island, Rise of Kong. We've had Redfall. We've had that ridiculous Walking Dead game, Deadlines. We had fucking, I'm trying to think of some others. But we have a new edition here with a fucking insane backstory. It's the day before. It's one of those quick cash grab type of games. It was kind of like another story we're going to cover later. Kind of has that same vibe. But yeah, this is, the company, Fntastic.
It's called Fntastic.
Yeah. They shut down after getting rightfully reamed for the day before essentially being a scam game.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
So they are, quote unquote, shutting down their studios.
Yes.
And the development of the day before, which ended up being a complete scam and finished product that is nothing like the advertised product that they made money from. Yeah, and
and a lot of places like Steam, even Nintendo, I believe, are being like, yeah, fucking refund this shit. This shit's garbage. Yeah. Steam even was like, hey, even if you got more than 2 hours in, which is the usual for Steam's refund policy, for those who don't know, it is you have to refund it within 14 days and have less than 2 hours or less of playtime. Steam were like, nah, you can refund it this time. This is fuck shit right here. Mm-hmm. But some sleuthy people on the internet saw that another one of Fntastic's games, The Wild 8, had a funny little change developer name from Fntastic to 8 points.
That is correct. So it looks like instead of brutally shutting down their studio, they're just renaming themselves to 8 points.
Yeah, it's
and they're trying to fly under the radar.
It's speculation right now, but the evidence doesn't really look good for Fntastic. Though the funny thing is, 8 points only have one game, which is The Wild 8. which was an Fntastic original game. So I don't think that actually helps their case for being a different developer. But my God, what the hell has been with bad games this year? There's been a lot of great games. Obviously, we're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks. But there's also been quite a lot of shit this year, too.
Yeah, I think it's just too many companies kind of getting in over their heads with what they're promising, like consumers and whatnot, which we'll actually cover that in just a second.
Yeah.
And then realizing too late that the product that they wanted to make isn't going to be what they end up releasing.
Yeah, so avoid.
I think it's just one of those scenarios.
Avoid Fntastic / 8 points games in the future. This is not a company to do business with. There are many other great independent game companies, AA game companies, AAA game companies to do your business with, to give your time and money. And finally, we end with another heavy hitter. We had one at the beginning of the week with E3, and we have this one right here from Naughty Dog. So this is a update on The Last of Us Online. We realize many of you have been anticipating the news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on that game. We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated Last of Us factions community who have been following our multiplayer ambitions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studio as we were looking forward to putting it in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background. Basically, the multiplayer team had been in pre-production for a bit since while Last of Us Part 2 was being worked on to create a multiplayer experience. In ramping up to full production, the scope became clear and a bit big, and it came to this. We had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this project. The learnings and investment in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects and will be invaluable in the direction of the studio.
So this is actually good news. So it's up to as they have to kill the game, but the reason why this is good news is this is a AAA video game publisher coming to the realization that the live service games market is just way too fucking crowded.
Yeah, like we talked about,
and there's zero shot to get a game to be super successful.
Yeah, like we talked about this multiple times on the show. We had 1 week where there were like 10 dead live service games in 1 week. I could probably name off the top of my head probably 20-30 dead live service games this year alone.
I mean, hell, even at the Game Awards last week when they announced like a crap ton of live service sci-fi shooters, almost 90% of those games are going to be dead on arrival.
90? I think you mean 95%. Honestly,
I'm almost willing to say 100% of them.
No,
they're all going to die on arrival.
There's going to be, I think, one or two that hit.
Maybe.
But yeah,
But you're seeing it already. Fucking the Suicide Squad live service game. That got multiple trailers. There's just complete apathy.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that shit. And if you're trying to release a live service game, that's not the reaction you want.
If it was just speaking on that real quick, if it was just a 4-player co-op looter shooter without all the microtransaction bullshit, fine, sure, that's cool. People love the Suicide Squad, so why not? But no, they made it a fucking live service. But yeah, like Slade said earlier, it's not all bad. This last sentence is pretty clear that this development, even if it got canned, will be invaluable because they say the learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects.
That's just PR speak. We don't actually know what they took behind closed doors.
Well, for a online multiplayer game, you'd have to make big worlds. And Naughty Dog, they want to make luscious gorgeous looking worlds, but they're mostly linear worlds. So maybe that's that experience. Maybe training some of the new maybe training some new staff. This was the game to do that. There's
perhaps I don't know. I don't think everything needs to be a large open scale world to be good. I think a lot of people are forgetting about, you know, how good linear games can be. And they're like, oh, we just need open, bigger, better. Bigger is not always better.
Yeah. Like,
so, like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is just PR speak for the time we spent on this canceled project was not wasted. We're going to have clear takeaways and blah, blah, blah. It's just PR speak.
Well, I still think, like, obviously there's probably going to be a lot of those assets that could be reused. So.
Well, yeah, the assets, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, no, like I said, this is actually good news. Good on Naughty Dog for understanding that live service game studios, there's just too many of them. And unless your game's pretty much already established or does something in a way that none of the other games are doing it, then it's just not going to be successful.
Now, before I get into the very last sentence, which also has some big news on Naughty Dog, my gut reaction says this may or may not have to do with Jim Ryan leaving. Because we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Jim Ryan is leaving PlayStation at the end of the year. Maybe the new PlayStation heads went to Naughty Dog and were like, hey, do you think you can continue this? And they're like, either we just make this and you don't get your big Game of the Year 10+ million seller titles from us, or we can this, but you get multiple major selling titles, Game of the Year winning titles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is the correct call in the end.
Yeah.
I think they need to be making multiple games over the course of a multi-year span. They don't need to be locked to one live service game. Yeah. We've got enough of those already.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're starting to see other companies pay the price for committing to, you know, such ideas like Ubisoft. Just one example of many. Like, that pirate game is going to fucking die on arrival.
Not Sea of Thieves. Skull and Bones. Oh, that one's gonna.
That game's so dead on arrival.
Yeah, that one's gonna die a death. But you mentioned earlier, Slade, multiple games, and they actually note at the end of this post, we have more than one ambitious, brand new single player game that we're working on here at Naughty Dog, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next when we're ready. So that's interesting that they have 2 games in development right now, it seems. Or at the very least, one is in one is in development, the other one's in pre-production / early development. Which, obviously, I think one of them is a new IP, because I think an issue Sony is going to be facing is a lot of their big IPs of the PS4 and PS5 generation are facing IP fatigue.
Yes, absolutely.
And I will take a shot in the dark. I think the other game is probably Last of Us Part 3. If I had to take a guess.
Last of Us Part 3. I mean, they just spent all this time working on a Last of Us live service game. Yeah. It gives them the chance to use those assets that they developed, and I think it's probably just about time. The Last of Us Part 2 is like, what, 5 years ago at this point?
Well, we are getting the remake remaster, the remaster with new levels in a roguelite mode in like what, a month?
Yep. Was it the 3rd time they've remastered Part 1?
Well, no, this is for Part 2, not Part 1.
Oh, Part 2. Sorry.
Yeah. This is for Last of Us Part 1 for PS6.
Lord.
But yeah, that's going to be it for the news, and that's going to be it for us for a bit. We're going to take next week off, just relax with the family, celebrate the holidays, all that stuff. Right. And we're going to be back at the end of the month for our tradition, Slade, our best and worst games we played this year. Look forward to that.
Right. We are excited for that. So if you guys see some crazy news story next week, sorry, we're going to be spending time with family
and friends and all that. Yeah, sorry. We'll cover it. We'll cover it in 2024. That's 2020. That'll be 2024 stuff. But this has been Byron,
and it's been Slade.
And happy holidays if you celebrate it, and just have a good day, good night, and goodbye.